So this guy just got his wallet stolen, and it's about to destroy his life. Now, his name is William Woods, and he lives in Albuquerque. He works at a hot dog stand, and one day, this guy, who we'll call Pretender, takes his wallet. Luckily, William Woods catches him, and he gets all up in Pretender's grill. Pretender gets scared and gives the wallet back, and all of William Woods' documents are still in there. His social security card, his birth certificate. So, William thinks nothing more of it. But while Pretender didn't take anything, he was able to get all of William Woods' personal information. Pretender flees to Colorado because he's got a plan. While in Colorado, he uses William Woods' information to get a state ID card. Then he uses that state ID card to buy a car in William Woods' name. He buys it using checks, and all the checks end up bouncing. But by the time they bounce, he's already fled to another state, where he just abandons the car. Police issue an arrest warrant for him, but not in Pretender's name, in William Woods' name. Then, about 3 years later, Pretender ends up meeting a nice woman, and they fall in love, and eventually get married. But even to her, he's still pretending to be William Woods, so she takes his last name. Well, William's last name. They even have a baby together who also has the last name Woods. Pretender lives life under the name William Woods for the next decade. Eventually, he goes on one of those genealogy websites, looks up the real William Woods' family tree history, and then uses this information to apply for a birth certificate. He gets it. Now, Pretender has a William Woods birth certificate, and he uses that to get a William Woods driver's license and a William Woods social security card. Now, legally, Pretender is William Woods. About a year later, he uses this identity to get a well-paying job working remotely for an Iowa hospital as an administrator. Over the next 10 years, he gets promotions and raises, keeps climbing the corporate ladder, and soon enough, they've got him on salary, and he's making over $100,000 a year. He's taking out car loans and personal loans, even paying taxes using this fake identity. At this point, Pretender has been living as William Woods for over 30 years. Meanwhile, there's the real William Woods, and for him, life isn't going as well. He's fallen on hard times and is living on and off the streets of Los Angeles. One day, he discovers that he's in a lot of debt that he didn't rack up. He finally learns that someone's been using his credit to take out loans, so he goes to the local branch of this bank and says, "Hey, I didn't take out all these loans, so there's no way I'm paying all this money back." He tells them someone must have stolen his identity and asks them to close any accounts under his name. Then he shows them all of his IDs and all the info matches. The bank tries to verify by asking him some security questions, like when the account was open, stuff like that. Of course, William Woods doesn't know the answers to these security questions because he wasn't the one who opened the account. So the bank manager calls the phone number tied to the account, which is Pretender's number. Pretender answers the call and can answer all the security questions. The bank manager says, "Hey, someone here in California is trying to access your account." And Pretender says, "No one in California should be accessing my account." The bank connects Pretender to the LAPD. The LAPD asks him for proof that he's the real William Woods, and of course, Pretender faxes them over the fraudulently obtained birth certificate. Now, police are like, okay, I guess this guy at the bank must be a fraud. They arrest the real William Woods and charge him with both identity theft and false impersonation. Now he's in jail, and even as he's locked up, William Woods keeps insisting that he's the victim of identity theft. No one believes him. He sits in jail for 450 days waiting on his trial. But he never changes his story or backs down. Over time, police and prosecutors start thinking he's legitimately crazy. A judge ends up declaring him incompetent to stand trial and sentences him to a psychiatric hospital. Worse, they start medicating him to control what they feel is a mental condition. The real William Woods sits in that psychiatric hospital for 147 days until his sentence is over. They finally release him, but he has to pay a small fine, and they order him to stop using the name William Woods. But William isn't going to stop. He's determined to get his life back. He does some research and eventually deduces that the identity thief, Pretender, works for an Iowa hospital. He calls that hospital, and they aren't really listening, but they refer him to the police. He hits up the police, and there, he finally gets someone to agree that this is all very strange and that they should look into Pretender. Police bring Pretender in and question him. He still insists that he's the real William Woods and that the other guy is some crazy identity thief who needs to be locked up. police still think it's weird because they both have a legitimate birth certificate. So they end up looking at the name of the father on the birth certificate and track him down, William Wood's biological dad. They have him do a DNA test, and of course, his DNA matches with the real William Woods. Finally, after over 30 years, boom, police arrest Pretender. Here's his mugshot. He ends up pleading guilty to aggravated identity theft and some other charges. He's currently still awaiting his sentencing. Meanwhile, the real William Woods is currently living in a friend's van, but he is in the process of getting his life back together and his original jail conviction has been vacated. Good for him. Shout out to California, Colorado, Iowa, Wisconsin, and New Mexico.